Hello boys and girls, and welcome back to another part in my collection series. Today we're going over the PlayStation 1, and the reason you see my PS2 here is because I have never actually owned a PS1. But I figure since I have a PS2, plays PS1 games, so it gets to stand in today. So first, I wanted to show off a couple that I literally just got today. There's another YouTuber, I'm sure you guys know, by the name of Mr. Space Kappa, was selling off a lot of games on eBay, but he gave to his Twitter followers a chance to try and buy a few off of him before he actually put it up for sale. So I took him up on his offer. And these literally came today. Like I wanted to film this today, and these showed up literally just a couple hours ago. So I'm gonna start off with one I had never heard of, but it sounds interesting, called Dragon Warrior World Torneko. From the Dragon Warrior series, artwork by Akira Toriyama, and from Enix. Remember when it was just Enix? So look forward to playing that one, and even more look forward to playing Vandal Hearts. This is definitely glad I got a hold of this one. So I might play this on the channel or stream it or something. I don't know. Seems like a pretty cool game. So the rest of these, I'm literally just going to be pulling out of a bag, so they're in whatever order I grab. Next up we have Final Fantasy Tactics.
Test Drive Off-Road, which I got to replace my broken Final Fantasy Tactics disc. It features up to 4 of the best off-road vehicles of 1997, including the Hummer, the Chevy Z71, the Jeep Wrangler, and the Land Rover Defender 90. And a soundtrack by some band called Gravity Kills. It's an okay game. So this is what happens when you have a full-time job while trying to run a YouTube channel and can't immediately edit things after you film them. So in the time that I filmed the original part of this, I learned out that my roommate actually has a working copy of Final Fantasy Tactics. The story behind this is I originally bought this from Gamefellas from one of their stores that was going out of business, and I got it home and the disc was cracked. So I traded it in. They happened to have one other copy, and so I just did an even swap. I wanted the game. I didn't want, to be returned and get my money back, whatever. I want freaking Final Fantasy Tactics. So when it comes time to film this, I learned that that PS1 disc causes the red screen of death with my PS2. But it had been so long since I bought it, I was outside of the return time frame. So I happened to notice our roommate has an old school CD disc, like booklet, and I noticed that it was on Final Fantasy Tactics. I was like, holy crap, you have an actual version. So he decided to give it to us. So we actually do have a working copy now of Final Fantasy Tactics, making that last joke pretty much pointless, but I'm gonna throw it in anyway.
Next up we have a kind of obscure title that I've actually been looking for quite a while. It's something I used to play a lot with my cousin when I would go over and play his PS1. Daredevil Delivery 3D. It plays a lot like the old 3D Micro Machines games, like the Micro Machines V4 for N64 and PS1. It's pretty much the exact same style. It's kind of cartoony, and I remember having a lot of fun with it. I haven't played it since I got it, but I will probably play it to throw it down in the corner down here somewhere. Another one that actually, I think I got this at Savers, Ape Escape. So I've always wanted to try the Ape Escape games, but never got a chance to play them when they were new. It's pretty much the only game on the PS1 that requires that you have the DualShock controller. So I definitely want to play this for the channel too, because it always seemed like a pretty cool game, and so I always wanted to play it. Next up is the X-Files game. We definitely plan on playing this, or making Jess play this as part of the adventure game series. It's one of those, live action filmed adventure games starring all the actors from the show. So look forward to that. There's another one I found at the game store that I bought literally just for Jess, the Dance Dance Revolution Disney Mix. I didn't believe that this thing even existed until she told me about it, and we've had the music for it for a long time. And it's this weirdest mix of music where it's like early 2000s hardcore rave versions of old Disney songs like It's a Small World and Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious and things like that. But we don't have a DDR pad, so it's going to be a little bit different to play.
Actually, we got one now!
Next up, we have the Jet Moto Collection. It's Jet Moto 1. I always thought these games were pretty cool because it's like futuristic bike racing. It was actually developed by the same guys who did the Twisted Metal series. So there's actually a lot of reused music tracks and sound effects between them. Jet Moto 2. Again, more bike racing, a little bit better this time. And then Jet Moto 3. Critics say that this one isn't quite as good. I haven't really played this one a whole lot. But whatever, I'm glad to have all three. Consider that a kind of a complete mini collection. Next up we have classic Silent Hill. I could have swore I had the actual case for this, but I can't find it anymore, so I guess not. Not much I can really say about this that people haven't already said. It's freaking Silent Hill. Here's what I got actually because I watched a review of it from Classic Game Room. It's a weird racing game called Starwinder. And basically it sets itself up. It doesn't really take itself too seriously. It's like all the cutscenes treat itself like a comedy. But it's pretty much, there's these weird tracks that people have found out in space. And at the end of each track is like a piece of this sphere. And there's like 41 tracks for pieces, but there's like a mysterious 42nd piece. I don't know, this game's really hard. I've never gotten that far in it. But yeah, it's an interesting game. And you guys have seen us play this before, Taifu Wrath of the Tiger. I don't actually have the official case for it, but there's the disc. We actually didn't have the disc when we played the game on our channel. It was our first ever blind play, the second game we ever played on the channel, and I really liked it. Next up we have Tetris Plus. I've played this a little bit, and it's not quite as good as actual Tetris. I don't know if I'm just too old school, but like even it has like some weird modes, like you help this little guy kind of climb down, or you clear stuff around him as like a spike ceiling tries to drop, so you're trying to help him down. But anytime you try to play just like regular Tetris, the level progression is too fast. It's not like in the original Tetris. It's like every 10 lines you clear goes up a level, but this it's like every 10 items you drop. So whether you've cleared lines or not, the level's just going to keep progressing and getting faster and stuff. I'm not a big fan of that. Up next is one you've seen us play, and it's probably for our first Let's Quit, Tiny Tank. It got way more difficult than I thought it was going to get, but it's a pretty enjoyable game, and I like its sense of humor, and music in it is top notch. Next we have NASCAR Rumble, which is kind of a weird play on kart racing, even though it's not really karts. But it's not a straight up NASCAR game. It's got like fake tracks and stuff, and there's weapons, but it uses real drivers and has the official NASCAR license and stuff. But it's actually a lot of fun. Next up we have Final Fantasy IX, which I do hope that we can get to eventually on the channel. I did buy the Steam version, so I'm kind of torn if I want to play this disc version or play the updated Steam version or not. But I mean, just this does go to show that we do own the original, well, not the original, but we do own it on PS1. So this is one of Jess's favorite Final Fantasy games, and I've never played it, but I look forward to seeing it. Up next is probably one of my favorite PlayStation 1 games, Twisted Metal 2, and I still think this is my favorite Twisted Metal in the whole franchise. I mean, I love just like the style and the story. I like all the levels. I love all the characters, the gameplay, everything. I've had hours and hours of fun with this game. Up next is another one that I got from a discount store called Mass Destruction, and it looks like just a generic, like you roll around as a tank and you blow shit up, and that's pretty much what I've seen. I haven't played it yet, but it seems like it might be a good, fun, just roll around and kill stuff simulator or something. I don't know. I might play this for the channel in the future. Up next we have probably one of the few gems that we have in the PS1 collection is Persona 2. And this is interesting because this is before they went with the whole edgelord high school aesthetic, where to summon your persona you have to like put a gun to your head and look like you're committing suicide out the edge kind of stuff. I may be biased. I've heard a lot of good stuff about the later Persona games, but in this one you play as an adult, basically a reporter, and you know, Persona shit happens. I haven't really played a whole lot. I kind of watched Jess play it a little bit, but she didn't really get far enough into it to really follow what was actually going on. But I definitely want to play this some more. Up next we have a slightly obscure little fighting game called Poy Poy, and this is actually the first 4-player PS1 game that I've ever played. It plays, it's kind of like Power Stone, where you basically have a square arena and you can run around anywhere you want, and you have items that you can throw at each other, generally just rocks and bombs. So you pick them up, you toss them at each other, but you also have these magic gloves that can add special abilities. Like you toss it up in the air and it disappears, and then it appears over someone's head and just drops straight on them, things like that. It's actually a lot of fun, and I really want to get, because I bought a PS1 multi-tap specifically for this game because I want to get 4 people together and do just a short little fun versus video. So look out for that in the future. Up next we have Road Rash Jailbreak, because I am a big Road Rash fan. This one actually is a lot of fun and has a great soundtrack. And that's one thing that's been consistent throughout all the Road Rash games is the music, especially when they got the CD. They got some really great rock soundtracks for the Road Rash games. Up next is another 4-player game called Blast Chamber. I remember commercials for this, and it seemed pretty cool. Basically, it's 4 players in an arena, and it's like a huge cube. And each person has basically a nuclear bomb strapped to their back. There's 1 crystal will drop in the arena, and you can either put it in your goal to add time to your timer, or put it in an enemy's goal to take time off. And a lot of the modes are kind of just last man standing. Last man who doesn't blow up wins. But the kicker is each of the cube arenas, there's these arrows in the wall, and if you go and kick one, the whole arena will rotate. And that was pretty much the selling point of this game. It's a lot of fun. And last but not least, we have probably one of the longest titles, a collection of Activision classic games for the Atari 2600. That is the official full title of this game. But this is actually pretty cool because back on the Atari 2600, the Activision was one of the best developers. I mean, they made classics like Pitfall and stuff like that. So I haven't actually had a chance to play around with this, but I definitely want to do some fun little one-off videos and chase and do some 2-player games with this. So that does it for the PS1 portion of my collection. It's actually grown a lot bigger than I realized over the years. Hope you enjoyed watching. Be sure to subscribe if you like what we do. Also, if you like what we do, we have a link down to our Patreon down in the description below, and you'll also find other links to our Discord chat and our Telegram chat, and also to our Twitter, so you can keep up with us. Thanks for watching. Not on my PS2. Drag dropped soup off my PS2.
Yeah, go ahead. Alright, get out of your face.
I'm gonna put that in. Like an outtake at the end or something. How dare I? How dare I?
First of all.
and people coming down the stairs. I finally find a quiet moment to start recording, and people gotta be walking through here.
Don't mess it up. What are you doing?
I'm trying to make a video here.
It's nice.
Yeah, it does. I don't need an audience.
You don't want me to stand here and watch you do this?
No,
What?
it's awkward.
Is it? Is it recording?
Yes, it
Is
is.
it video recording?
Yeah, it is. I'm gonna put all this in to show how difficult it is. Filming this
Hey,
stuff.
what's up?
Filming
What are
this
you
stuff
doing?
at home.
Hi.
Jesus Christ. guys.
Come on, let's go. This is what happens when you live with 6 adults. Or kid adults.
Yeah.
Switch!
Son of a bitch.
Adults. I'm sorry, I almost.
Adults.